Hello everyone and welcome back to some more NASCAR Heat 5 Custom Championship season without the playoffs. By now I'm sure you already know the drill. Today we are leaving the West Coast swing after 4 consecutive races over on the West Coast and heading back over to the Paperclip of Martinsville Speedway for 65 laps around this very short half-mile circuit. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so getting started here in qualifying, I will say that Martinsville, at least in previous games, has always been one of those interesting circuits in terms of trying to figure out what type of default setup you want to use if you are using one. Just because if you make it too loose, the exits of the corners will be unbearable. But if they're too tight, you're just not going to be able to really carry any speed at all through the corner. And first ever lap on Martinsville in this game. So let's see how this goes. Again, very small track, so completely different style from especially something like Sonoma, where the laps are well over a minute long. And we're going to finish this qualifying up in 20th place. So yet again, I feel like we're just, programmed to finish at like the midfield in all these qualifying events. But let's go ahead and look through the qualifying results. On pole for this Martinsville race, Denny Hamlin. I can see that being completely reasonable. And we even got Matty D up there, 3rd place. Not half bad. Okay, so getting started, coming to the green flag, you will see that as we get started here, some cars are probably out of position from what we just saw, because I did have to redo qualifying. I had to change some settings before we actually started the race, unfortunately, but this will probably be the first real test of how the AI can handle dealing with lapped traffic, just because this is such a short track, and of course we do have Daniel Hemrick now, who started on the pole after we ran through that, so unfortunate for Denny Hamlin. Could have had a pole to help extend his lead, but unfortunately the rookie somehow has obtained it here at Martinsville. But this is also the first race I've done since the most recent patch, which I made a video about. And for some reason, I've noticed this in like the loading screen and also in the garage. The rims of my car were red for some reason, and they're still yellow on track. I don't know if they somehow made it worse when they tried to fix it, or if they even tried to fix it. But it was, originally correct in the loading screen. And now it's incorrect there as well, so I don't exactly know what they're doing there, as we're kind of stuck on the outside here as both Jimmie Johnson and Chase Elliott go to their inside. This is going to be a pretty long race. I will say I've traditionally struggled on small, flat tracks in previous NASCAR Heat games, so really we're just going to try and hope for at least like a top 15. Depending on how the traffic gets, maybe we can try and eke out a top 10, or maybe even better. Kind of does depend how the race progresses. All right, Ty Dillon kind of twitching coming out of that corner. That is one of the weird things that happens with the physics, and you want to avoid that, because if it slightly touches you, kind of tail slaps you like a, like a Pokemon move, it could just send you into the inside wall, and then you got to start back of the pack when the caution comes out. So don't want to do that. This is one of the tracks where passing is going to be pretty difficult, just because you're constantly on the brakes, constantly just trying to get as much space as you can, as you see both Jimmie Johnson and Chase Elliott battling out for 14th place over there. The big concern here is also going to be tire wear. You can see we're already at 86, 85% even on the right front. That is going to start screaming at us probably pretty soon. We're only about 10% of the way through the race, so although I think we can make it on fuel, yeah, we have 64 laps left of fuel, I'm pretty sure we're going to have to pit for tires at some point, so I'm hoping the AI also have to, or that we get lucky and that, around like lap 30 or so we can just get a caution. Makes it pretty even for us and everybody else, as my car is now trying to snap loose on the exit. I definitely don't want that to happen, because that's just asking for a lot of damage, as Matt Kenseth goes to our inside. I need to be willing to give up a few positions here and not try and fight too much, because if my car is starting not handle very well, I don't want to risk wrecking it, kind of like what I did at Sonoma. Although at Sonoma I was traditionally running a little bit worse than I am here, at least so far. Still plenty of time. We're only a few positions higher than we were there. Yeah, the car really does kind of want to snap to the left on the exit of these corners. I'm hoping maybe cars like Cole Custer, he is falling back to me, so maybe I'm still faster than him, and maybe some of the cars just qualified farther back than they actually perform on pace, as we kind of smack in the back of Cole Custer there. Get a bit of damage, unfortunately. We've had a lot of run-ins with this guy so far this season. I mean, technically we're also a rookie. If we wanted to argue, we could say that we're running for the Rookie of the Year, but I feel like that's kind of unfair, considering we already have 2 wins, and none of the other rookies, at least in the game, have won in this custom season. Obviously Cole Custer has won in real life, but that does not count here. Okay, the car really wants to snap on the exit of the corner. You have to get off the gas entirely, which is kind of making it hard for me to try and get around this guy, as it looks like Kyle Busch has caught up to the lapped traffic. So like I said, give it a few laps and we'll see if he can handle that, although It does look like Daniel Hemrick has lost the lead at some point because he is no longer the leader. I keep getting fairly close to Cole Custer up here, and then I just start to overdrive the corner, and or I just have to let off so much on the exit. The car is not handling very well, but I'm trying not to wreck it, and I keep getting closer to him. But you'll probably see here as I get closer, especially in turns 1 and 2. I don't do it this time, but I have been overshooting this corner by a whole lot, and then you just lose a whole bunch of car lengths on them in the process. Okay, so just looking a bit ahead of us here, you know, just a few cars, you can see that, at least also looking on the mini-map, it does look like some of the AI are definitely struggling at getting past the lap traffic. It does look like Kyle Busch has made it past completely fine, although he might be the only one. But there's a big pack of cars ahead of us, which should play out in our favor. But, you know, it is kind of gaming the system and the whole AI not being great in this game. But you know what? We'll take it, considering we have to beat Kyle Busch if we really want to win the championship, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen in this race, so we need all the help we can get. Okay, all of these cars at this point have kind of just fallen back into our grasp here. Not the best thing in the world. You can see Brendan Gaughan stuck on the inside line. I'm pretty sure he's in last place and or 39th place, so everybody that's on the inside line kind of struggling to get around him, and the cars just don't seem capable of really passing on the outside. I've been tempted to try and pass Custer on the outside here, because he is braking slightly earlier than me in some of these corners. Although if you're following a car, you'd have to brake slightly earlier. And I'm not exactly doing that well. So I'm trying to get around him. But now there's just a big moving roadblock ahead of us, unfortunately. Okay, I'm pretty sure I see 3 wide up there. I don't know how that's going to pan out. But Ryan Newman is now stuck on the outside as we just dove it in there. Almost running into the back of Cole Custer. We are going to get a position here. All right, this is where it gets a bit dicey. We got to grab all these positions. So, you know, diving in there 3 wide. We are now stuck behind Brendan Gaughan in last place, who's going so slow that we might not be able to pull off the pass. And we're being pinched to the inside, so the car does still want to snap to the left as Cole Custer thinks better of everything and decides to hit the brake. I see our teammate up here, Bubba Wallace. I don't know if, unfortunately, he might be, you know, back in 39th, really struggling in this race, or maybe he's actually doing really well and he's in the top 10. Can't exactly tell just yet. He's not showing up on the top left ticker. But we'll have to see as Kurt Busch tries to get a run on us on the outside. Can't let that happen. We do need to try and preserve these positions, since I'm sure once we're out of the traffic, we're probably going to be slower than a lot of these cars. I'm also always afraid to try and dive it in there, because I'm not sure if the AI really have the presence of mind to understand that I'm probably going to dive in there because they're going so much slower than I am. Because, you know, they could just very easily take me out, as now our teammate taken 3 wide. With Timmy Hill and Chase Elliott, but they managed to survive. Okay, so Bubba actually is in 10th place. He's running in the top 10 right now, as I'm in a really bad spot. I don't want to be in the middle. So you know what? Hey, for the first time this season, I think, Bubba is actually outperforming us so far. I say that. I'm pretty sure I outperformed him at Sonoma. But hey, you know what? Doing really well. He is pretty good, generally, on short tracks. So, you know, I like that it looks like they have buffed him in that regard. Maybe that means he'll also have a good chance at Bristol or maybe even Richmond. But we'll have to see, because he's not exactly had the best luck so far this season. And Almirola down in 36th. Not exactly sure what caused that. I'm pretty sure he's usually at least okay at Martinsville, right? At least I want to say, you know, I don't have a perfect recollection of everybody's track history, but I'm pretty sure he's not someone that's going to be struggling that much at this track, as we still have 3 wide ahead of us. Chase Elliott and Bubba constantly fighting it out. Kind of interesting to see 2 pretty good friends doing that, as it looks like Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin are actually trading the lead back and forth here. That is not good for us, because we need to make up points on them. That being said, we are closing in here on the top 10, but it might have to come at the expense of our own teammate. Or at Kurt Busch. Diving to the inside here, as my car just would not turn on the exit there, so we're going to lose a lot of time and a lot of ground. Aero's down to 94%. That is not good. But fortunately, we're at a track where aero means the least, probably out of all the tracks, to be honest. But that's still not going to help us, because our car's already not handling very well. We're at 52% tire wear on the right front. My car is trying to snap loose on the exit. And we still have more than half the race to go. So you know what? We are going to need tires at some point. All right, we managed to dive it in along 3 cars. We actually passed 3 cars in that one corner, 2 of which were per position. So I'll gladly take that. We got Quinn Houff. Good old Quinn Houff, who's somehow going to pass me. That's pretty sad, or maybe. But, you know, the guy that turns across a lane of traffic at Texas Motor Speedway in the real world and causes a collision. And NASCAR had to intervene because, you know, why would anybody ever think that's a good idea? That is a move you would normally do in a video game like this. And even then, you probably still wouldn't do it just because it's a terrible decision. But hey, you know what? Oh gosh, my car really wanted to snap loose that time. That was real close. Okay, don't want to... What I'm really trying to avoid is just keeping it from like nosediving into the wall when that happens, because when it snaps, I'm sure if I try and save it, that's going to be what happens, as we're just going to have to shove Quenhalf out of the way. Truex still battling alongside us. That means Chase Elliott's also going to get to our inside. I kind of feel like I should just give up the position here, but I don't exactly want to do that. Yeah, I still probably wouldn't be able to get to the inside here because Christopher Bell going to stick his nose to the inside. All right, but if I dive into this corner, okay. Fortunately, he's going to play nice and not give us the bump and run. And it looks like we have a car with a blown engine. Who is that? Is that Michael McDowell? Okay, well, you know, okay, as I completely overshoot that corner. Already not having a great season outside of course, winning the Daytona 500, which would probably make, you know, basically anybody's life, you know, amazing if you're not exactly somebody winning all the time. But ever since then, he's just kind of been on a downward spiral. I'm pretty sure he was already like on the outside of the top 30 in points, and he's probably just going to fall even further. So, you know, his championship hopes were honestly probably gone after the first 3 races. But if he had any hopes left, they're probably gone, as I am overshooting every corner. Now my right front is absolutely fried at 37% left in terms of tire wear. That's not exactly going to help us. I will say that is the only tire having issues. So we can pit for right side tires, but I have a suspicion that some of the AI probably won't need to pit at all, because you can definitely make it on fuel. But my right front is just not happy in the slightest. So unfortunately, if my tire wear is just worse than the AI's, which it probably is, because I know for a fact I'm just, you know, slamming on the brakes way too hard in some of these corners to try and get the thing to turn around, then they're probably going to be able to make it without pitting. So we're just going to have to hope for the best. Hope that, you know, at least some of them have to pit so we don't just plummet to, you know, 38th place or whatever. Okay, so I somehow just ran my best lap of the race at a 20:05. Don't know exactly how that happened. I was even on the brakes very early in some of these corners, just kind of trailing behind Truex. I'm kind of just trying to follow them through this big gaggle of lapped traffic, I think. Although all these cars ahead of me seem to be on the lead lap, especially Hemrick. Obviously, he started on the pole. And I think there's some car up there. I don't know if the 47 of Stenhouse is a lap down or not. I could see that being the case, considering how unfortunate of a season he has had so far, outside of course, you know, a second place at Sonoma. But you never know. As my car continues to try and snap on me, I'm going to try and fight against it as hard as I can. 32% on the right front. We probably need to think about coming in, but of course we have to wait as long as we can, because if you pit too early and then the caution comes out, you're just kind of done, because, okay, I basically had to stop in the middle of that corner, because you're probably going to be 2 laps down, and there's no way you're going to make that back. You can probably get 1 back from the wave around, but you're not going to get 2 back, unfortunately. And as we look at this 3-wide battle up here in front of us, I'm also kind of curious what you guys think about short tracks in these games. Is it something that's just me? Maybe it could just be the fact that I'm so not used to, you know, flat tracks in these games. But is this something you guys also encounter, where when you come to tracks like, say, like this, or Phoenix, or New Hampshire also is a bad one for me, is it something that you just really struggle on? Or is that just something to do with maybe the physics in the game? I feel like I've always struggled on the flat tracks in the game, regardless of, you know, if it's NASCAR Heat or even the older like NASCAR Inside Line games. But you know, I'm curious to see what you guys perform like in some of these tracks. Okay, so there is just a massive, you know, just pack of lap cars ahead of us here at some point. Stenhouse is a lap down, unfortunately, 31st place. We are getting past Chase Elliott as well, so we will take that position. But there's just far too many cars up here, and it looks like Kevin Harvick might be one of the few leaders to actually get by cleanly. And that's kind of just been the whole, you know, mini-map this whole race. It's just been 2 massive, you know, masses of cars, and then some other cars sprinkled about, because the AI are still struggling to pass a lot of the lap traffic. As Bowman's actually a lap car, I did not realize that. 30th place. Not the race he was looking forward to, as I'm pretty sure he's, you know, the highest running Hendrick car in the points. So they will not be happy to see that. As our teammate Darrell Wallace still hanging on to the outside, or actually the edge of the top 10, trying to pass Denny Hamlin, in fact, who was leading not too long ago. So you can see that the AI are definitely kind of getting scrambled here, trying to bob and weave their way through the pack. Okay, so I absolutely nosedived into that corner, and that was a terrible decision. Fortunately, I came out unscathed, but I am now stuck to the outside of 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson here, and oh god. I'm gonna have to take my teammate 3 wide. I'm sure Richard Petty was probably not, this is not helping his heart, watching his 2 cars duke it out side by side 3 wide at Martinsville. Can I make it 4 wide? That would be even worse. I don't think that's physically possible. We got Ross Chastain splitting us now as we separate him. Jimmy Johnson's now moved up into the top 10. All right, our right front now at 22%. It's really not happy. That being said, it doesn't seem to be wearing down as much as it was, you know, in the middle portion of the run, I would say. But it's still not going to survive, I don't think. We have 14 laps to go. I feel pretty bad about that. Well, that's not a good sign. The tire warning has now come on. So again, I'm pretty sure you can go all the way down to 0% in this game before you will blow a tire, as the inside line is just going 2 miles an hour. That is not good. We were actually pretty close to the leader. That being said, considering the lap traffic is so bad, we actually have a shot that we could get up there, but there's no way our tires are actually going to survive. We're at 18%. I feel like we're going to be just a few laps shy, but I am going to keep running it until, you know, the very end, until I actually have to come in and pit, because considering all this stuff going on in front of us, who's to say that a caution couldn't come out and completely change things up, as I am basically just on the brakes for the entire corner, as the inside line just does not want to go. I'm going to dive it in here and abuse the fact that the AI will give that line to me, as Chris Buescher, okay, that was a bad decision on my part, I guess. We probably took a bit more damage there. I got a bit too aggressive, and Chris Buescher decided he wanted to park his car there. So you know what? Okay, and Eric Jones also not exactly playing that friendly, which is, you know, I should wreck him for that, considering he's in 26th place, but I'm not going to do that, because I feel like I would probably wreck myself in the process. Oh gosh, I'm trying to peek to the inside of Chris Buescher here. I finally worked my way to the inside of him, and he's finally going to give that spot up, even though he's already a lap down, so it wasn't actually for position or anything. As myself and Bubba are actually still, you know, slowly working our way up towards the front. Oh gosh, I say that. That was a terrible corner. Chris Buescher's now ahead of us once again. This car is not happy, and we're just trying to survive. We're at 16% on the right front. You know, the closer we get towards the end, I feel like there's a bigger chance of us actually completing the race. That being said, if I dive it in the corner like that, there's no way it's going to happen. So you know what? I feel like at this point, I need to commit to not pitting and just hope it survives. And if it doesn't, you know, unfortunately, we will have to try and limp around with 3 tires. But hopefully, if, you know, more cars are lapped down, at the very least, we can still get a top 20 at the worst out of it. Okay, so actually, the cars are so bad on the inside that I'm, like, you know, almost successfully passing cars on the outside. I say that until, you know, I actually get back on the gas, and then the car just wants to snap to the left like it has wanted to do all race. But, I don't know, 14% on the right front. I think we're going so much more slowly through the corners, and we're getting on the brakes so much earlier, that the fact that I have to deal with all this traffic is actually probably helping out my tire wear. And the last thing I want to do is take out Bubba, considering this might be one of his best races of the season. And we don't want to hurt our teammate, even though obviously we're not officially teammates, since it's not like career mode or anything. But, you know, still don't want to wreck him. Don't want any bad blood between our teammates, in case he decides to wreck me later in the season for some reason. Okay, so Bubba kind of got in the back of Kurt Busch there. Actually, all these cars ahead of us immediately are for position. I'm going to do something risky here. Try and dive it in. Okay, Keselowski absolutely got smashed there. Which, you know, if we're going to smash anybody, I guess our best friend Brad, probably the person to do it to. But we're trying to make up as many spots as we can here. If we can get past, you know, these 5 cars right ahead of us, we can get like a top 5 out of this. And our tires are going to survive. I was fully convinced that wasn't going to happen. But at this point, I feel like our tires have cooled down a little bit, so we can do whatever we would like. Okay, that was not good. We're going to lose those positions back that we just fought back for, unfortunately. Also, Joey Logano, apparently not on lead lap, so I thought he was for position. Same with Ryan Blaney, but they actually aren't. So you know what? We might be a bit too far back to actually get a top 5 here. Every car is just kind of wiggling around. It's just kind of, you know, messing with the throttle the whole race. Final lap, Kevin Harvick does pull off the win. I'm going to dive this in there way too deep for my own good, but somehow it's going to mostly stick. And coming to the line, you know what? We're going to edge out Kurt Busch. I'm sure he's not happy about that, but I'm surprised it stuck to begin with. So taking a look at the final race results, you can see that Kevin Harvick, of course, did win. Matt Kenseth actually got up to second place. He passed us at some point in that race, and he was actually pretty close to us there towards the end. So really it was just that massive, group of cars there at the end. You can see that Clint Boyer in third place was, less than a second ahead of us. So, if I had dove it in there, another 2 or 3 times and actually made it to stick, I could have perhaps gotten a third place out of all that. But then going through the rest of the field, you can see that Bubba Wallace in 9th place, the best finish for him so far this season, I believe. And then our best friend Brad in 10th place. And then scrolling down to the rest of the field, you can see that 18 cars did finish on the lead lap. Bobby Carter, of course, being the first one lap down. Good old Bobby Carter that nobody has ever heard of. And then in last place, unfortunately, Michael McDowell, who did blow an engine or blow some kind of tire. He actually got into a lot of people. At some point, I'm pretty sure he almost wrecked Clint Boyer, in fact. But hey, you know what? Last place. Not exactly what you'd hope for out of the Daytona 500 winner. And then taking a look at the points, surprisingly to me anyways, I've actually managed to move up a few spots into 3rd place in the points. So Denny Hamlin is still in 1st place, 20 points ahead of Kyle Busch, and then I'm 19 points down from him. And then you can see top 5 are all race winners. So again, winning races, playoffs, you don't necessarily need playoffs. Just being consistent generally means you're probably going to be pretty good throughout the season. But hey, I feel like, the winner of the championship is honestly probably somebody that's probably in the top 7, I would say, in points right now. After Brad, you go down 16 points to Truex and Bowman. I feel like at that point they're going to need to come back a lot. But there is still more than 2/3 of the season left, so anything can really happen. Also, can I just say that when you go through these accolades at the end of the race, I'm now noticing that if we wait a minute, you can see Matt Kenseth. This is not him in a fire suit, because they probably threw this in there at the last second. You can see, Kevin Harvick and Truex were in fire suits, but not Matt Kenseth. I wonder if they are ever going to fix that. Probably not, but I kind of found it pretty amusing. Also, he had a really good race, obviously, coming from the second half of the field and then finishing in 2nd place. But anyways, that will wrap up the video for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you made it this far, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. If you're new around here, it would really help me out a lot. And then in the next episode, we'll be heading over to Texas, another 1.5 miles where I feel like I'll have a pretty good chance at redeeming myself and getting another win for the season. But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one.